Hi and welcome to my presentation and welcome to the Drupal camp. Today I'll be talking about the AI-powered code development, and I will be focusing mainly on the role of prompt engineering. My name is Piotr Kamieniecki. I am a developer at Drupal, Drupal and PHP developer, and as of late I could probably call myself an AI aficionado. I started my adventure with AI around November 2022. Mostly with diffusion models like Midjourney and Stable Diffusion, and then I try to expand my horizons. So here's a little disclaimer. This presentation is based on knowledge that was available up until the end of April 2023, and it might be outdated in few places. I already changed it twice since I submitted my paper in January. So this is a third iteration, and it can become obsolete or outdated pretty soon probably. And also I will not be delving into modifying the models to do what do you want them to do, like training your own models, using LoRa's and embeddings, hypernetworking and all that. Those are topics for entirely different presentations. And I will be mentioning diffusion models in few places, but the primary focus is on large language models, and I will not be delving into the ethical implications of AI. They are important, but those are beyond the scope of this presentation. So here are the goals of my presentation. And first and the most important goal for me is understanding AI and language models. And I'd like you to gain some knowledge what are the large language models are, and maybe open your mind on what it really is and what it really isn't. I'll be demystifying some myths because. While talking to my colleagues and my community, my closest friends, there are a few common myths about AI. Sorry. I will be trying to debunk some of them, so you gain better understanding of the topic. Then we will explore prompt engineering. I will present you with some techniques. I will talk about what prompt engineering is and who the prompt engineer is. Then I will present you with some example workflow about how you can incorporate AI and large language models into your workflow. Practical applications. It's not really a point in the presentations. I will be presenting examples from my private projects and some stuff that I did at work using AI tools. And the goal is for you to leave this presentation with a clearer understanding of AI, how it can assist in code development, and the importance of effective prompt engineering. And this knowledge will probably allow you to better harness AI's potential in your own coding practices and more critically engage with conversations surrounding AI technology. That's what I'm hoping for, that you will leave this presentation with. So let's go. The dawn of the modern AI. A very brief history lesson. AI as a concept is with us since early 1950s, where researchers started thinking about the artificial intelligence and all. Then we went to neural networks, those 1980s, 1990s. Then we had something called deep learning revolution. Classifier neural networks became prevalent at that time. Those are the times where there was a lot of memes is this a cat or is this a dog? Can I please identify pictures containing a bus, etc. And we are here in the last step, emergence of transformers and language models. So just this started we are here, basically. We are here. Modern AIs and large language models and such are based on the transformer architecture, and we've got the GPTs, BERT, GPT-2, GPT-3, GPT-4. yeah, and we have AI tools capable of understanding and generating human likeness, assisting in code development and more. Yeah, okay. And we entered something that I dubbed the AI arms race. Since like November 2022, we got a ton of news. Yeah, probably it's a situation like with the JavaScript frameworks. Every few minutes there is a new JavaScript framework. Currently, every few minutes there's a new AI tool. But most important points are, yeah, in the early 2022, we had GPT-3 and some tools based on that, like Novel AI. We had the DaVinci text completion models. We've got the Midjourney V3 and Stable Diffusion 1.0. Last two are the diffusion models, so those are the ones that you use to generate images, and the other ones are yeah, those were the large language models that we are using for text completion. In November 2022, that's where I started gaining more interest in topic of AIs in general. We got the ChatGPT, and we got the Midjourney V4. And in January 2023, ChatGPT has more than 100 million users, making the fastest growing consumer application to date. And as of late, there was an estimation that it costs Microsoft to run ChatGPT. It costs Microsoft about $700,000 per day. So yeah, they're hiring a lot of optimizations engineers currently. Yeah, in February 2023, we got the Bing chat, and Google announced the BART and gave beta access to some people. And in March 2023, we've got the GPT-4 and Midjourney version 5. And yeah, on Wednesday, Google announced that they have the new Palm-like structured AI. So yeah, this should be like another point, but yeah, but this is entirely different architecture. And to be honest, I didn't do research because I didn't want to change my presentation again. So yeah, we're going fine. Yeah, so how fast does the AI evolve? Here I will use the example from the Midjourney. That's the diffusion model. I'm using this because on the images you can see improvement clearer, much more clearer. Evaluating the text-based models is yes, it is a little bit tricky. So yeah. Yeah, Midjourney V1. Okay, yeah, sorry. Here is the prompt that I used. A kitten in a forest, and the seed is yeah, because the way that diffusion models work is you can generate initial noise. So we've got an image of a noise, white noise, and then it uses transformers to get the prompt and see see the image in that noise. Yeah, there is a popular meme in Poland I can see face in this rainbow. Yeah, people who know, they know. Yeah, so diffusion models work exactly like that. So I provided the seed if you like to check this out yourself. And with the given seed, if you use the same seed, we are getting the same initial conditions. So the images can be generated. Yeah, we can get the same image using the same seed. Yeah, so this Midjourney V1. I don't know if you're seeing this, but I don't know. This doesn't look like a kitten for me. Then we got the Midjourney V2 in the April 2022. I mean, it looks better. We have something here, at least something that resembles a kitten, more like a gremlin or something. Then we got the Midjourney V3 in July 2022. Yeah, it still had a long way to go. Then we have November 2022, where we can get pretty good images from my point of view. It's getting better. You can clearly see a kitten and the forest, and it has its own distinct style. And we got March 2023, and that's the Midjourney V5. We got kind of realistic photo, and also Midjourney V5 is better at generating hands because the diffusion models struggle with this. Yeah, and at the beginning of May, Midjourney released the version 5.1. So yeah, but I didn't add this. So yeah, okay. Yeah. So what are the benefits and challenges of using AI in your work? Yeah. So the benefits are surely increased efficiency. AI can help developers write and maintain code more quickly and accurately, reducing time and effort required for this task. We got the improved accuracy because we can reduce the risk of errors and improve the overall quality of the code. We got the cost savings potentially because we can automate certain tasks like bug detection, tool generation, for the boilerplate code or something like this. Enhance creativity, because AI can generate new and innovative ideas that will be challenging to achieve through relational methods. Large language models are a very good tool for like brainstorming ideas. And yeah, this one, like, yeah, it can be contested probably in the question section. Yeah, but from my point of view, early adopters of AI in code development can gain competitive edge by developing and deploy code more quickly and efficiently. But we also have few challenges, like lack of the transparency. So understanding and interpreting AI-generated code can be challenging, making it difficult to identify and fix error or bugs. Bias and fairness, because AI are constrained to their training data. Also, we have a problem with the data quality, especially if we are using external tool, which we don't know what it has been trained on. So it can produce like poor quality code and solutions. Also, there is a problem of security and privacy, especially while using third-party tools, because yeah, we can. Yeah, probably everyone heard about that Samsung leak where the API keys and a lot of information about Samsung products was leaked by ChatGPT because the engineers were using it for their process. Currently, OpenAI, from what I know, in ChatGPT, you can opt out for using your sessions in the training of the model. So yeah, I mean, this challenge is being tackled by providers of external tools. And also integration compatibility, because AI may not be compatible with existing systems or technologies, make integration to existing workflow more challenging. Okay, so yeah, we are getting to the myth busting. Yeah, so the first one is pretty obvious. AI will replace all human jobs, because we are getting news like that. Is AI coming for your job? Goldman Sachs predicts 300 million jobs will be lost. Will generative AI kill jobs? If AI is already writing code, will programmers lose their job? And ChatGPT, yeah, the jobs must, yeah, you can read probably. Yeah, okay, so as a fact, yeah, it's true that the AI has the potential to automate certain routine tasks. This doesn't equate to AI replacing all human jobs. In fact, AI can be seen as a tool that enhances human productivity rather than a replacement for human creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. For now, I mean, we don't know where this technology will go. So, yeah, for example, we can consider the healthcare system, because yeah, the AI in the healthcare are there for a pretty long time. Like they're used for identifying tumors and cancers on the MRI images to help the doctors with the diagnosing process. And as you can see, like doctors still have their jobs, so I don't think yeah, that AI can replace them. Yeah, and moreover, as AI technology evolves, new job opportunities are created, and this will range from like AI specialists in data scientists to more interdisciplinary roles, like AI ethicists and AI trainers who can help like create new models. Yeah, so this is a meme based on like my community, programmers in 2023, at the beginning of 2023. Yeah, hey man, you see the guy over there, he'll take our job soon. Yeah, a lot of my friends were like, okay, yeah, we are done. Let's like try to do some smithing. Let's learn a craft instead of writing code. And in the human history, there was also a second group that said the exact same thing at the beginning of the 20th century, and the group was horses. Yeah, okay. So continuing. The second myth is another, like common. AI understands content like humans do. Yeah, so to illustrate this, is like, yeah, owner said meow, he understands my language. A lot of people, my friends, were like, oh yeah, I fed the ChatGPT the class and he's understanding me. I am talking with him, yeah, he understands. Not really. To be honest, not really. Because AI, including language models, do not understand the content. They analyze patterns in the data and generate response based on the statistics on those patterns, but they don't possess true understanding or consciousness. To further illustrate this, there is a popular thought experiment called the infinite monkey theorem, where we assume that if we give a monkey a typewriter and it will like type for an infinite amount of time, it will produce all the works of Shakespeare. Yeah, so this is a statistical thought experiment, and you can think of large language models the same way, because AI language models generate text based on statistical patterns in the data that they've been trained on, not because they understand the text in the way humans do. So if your like Copilot or another AI tool like gives you EMM after if statement, you have to like open the bracket and do stuff. That's because like from the training data it gathers that statistically it's the most probable like solution for this. So it doesn't really understand the content and context of what you are trying to do. Yeah, that's the chimpanzee and the typewriter, and he's probably not writing works of Shakespeare. Okay, yeah, so here's an example from the ChatGPT. It's like, okay, yeah, the slide is broken, but the initial prompt was, can you write PHP function to concatenate two strings? And we got something like this. I mean, it does its job, but yeah. And then we can like ask the AI to refactor this using PSR1 and PSR2. And we got like better code. It uses the camel case, and it's got its params, it's got the PHP docs. And yeah, the code is like better, but the model can generate the PHP code that follows PSR standards, but it doesn't understand why it's doing it. It knows that it's training data. The code related, like the concept of the code adhering to the PSR and other standards, looks like this. So it takes your input and like writes something similar, because from the statistical, yeah, from the probability point of view and statistics, it looks like this is the way to go. Okay. Yeah, then myth number 3, the AI can generate perfect code. So here's a little meme to like visualize. Who is responsible for this mess? GPT-4, and AI, where's Bob? You fired Bob after GPT-4, because some people like think, okay, we got this AI tools and it can write code. It's awesome. It cuts the cost, and yeah, like why keep programmers? Let's fire them. Okay. Yeah. So as a matter of fact, AI has made a significant stride in assisting with code development, from providing code suggestion to detecting potential bugs. But it's important to understand that as of now, AI is not capable of consistently generating perfect production-ready code. One reason for this is complexity of the coding, because coding is not about syntax. It's also about problem solving, understanding the specific requirements of a project, and making design decisions that can impact functionality. And yeah, other stuff, like, for example, unless business starts defining clearly their requirements, I think our jobs are safe for now. And yeah, also the other reason is AI can't write perfect code, because we as humans, we can't write perfect code as well. So the AI can't train on a perfect code to generate a perfect code. So it's kind of okay. Yeah, and here we have an example. Write a PHP function to retrieve user data from a database using a user ID, and given that prompt, AI might return something like this. Yeah, this function probably works, but we can see it lacks like few important features, like it doesn't it doesn't cover the SQL injection protection, because we directly interpolate user ID into a query. Yeah, which all know it's a potential risk. It also doesn't have error handling, and also we don't see any kind of data validation, for example. So yeah, this example probably illustrates that the AI can assist in generating code. It's crucial for human developers to review and refine the output to ensure it meets all project requirements and best practices. But we can also try to do a revised prompt. We can revise the prompt and ask AI to like write code with those things in mind, so we get a somewhat better code. Okay, and myth number 4: AI can lie or deceive. This is mostly prevalent, and yeah, this is a common myth. There's this idea that AI language models can lie or deceive. yeah, however, it's crucial to understand that AI, including the GPT models, they don't have beliefs, desires, or intentions, which are like necessary elements for lying. And we've got this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so like reiterating, the AI generates response based on the patterns it has learned during the training and doesn't have any understanding or consciousness from intent to deceive. And we've got, yeah, the AI can produce outputs that seem misleading or inaccurate, and this is often due to the data it was trained on, the way the prompt is phrased. And we have this phenomena in, yeah, it's called by AI researchers, it's called AI hallucinations. And yeah, this is an instance where AI generates an output that isn't grounded in its training data. So it hallucinates, it makes up details that aren't present in input. And this is usually because the model is trying to generate a probable response based on like statistical analysis, but doesn't actually understand the content or the context. So it may seem that it's making things up because it does kind of. Yeah, one case was it's usually happening in Drupal. You can get like, can I do like something related to views, and the ChatGPT or other AI models are spewing like, yeah, you can use this function or you can use this service, and you go like, and your IDE is not like completing, it's not suggesting that you can use this, and you are like, oh yeah, there is no such class, and you write, oh yeah, sorry for the confusion, here's the revised code, and it proposes another like class that doesn't exist. So because it doesn't have, it assumes, and probably I have, yeah, this is an example from GitHub Copilot. We got an object and we are getting something, a field called dynamic dayform. Yeah, let's not delve into this. And Copilot, which is based on the GPT, it's like saying, okay, yeah, so we've got this method and we should get value from this and do stuff. The problem is this method already returns a value. So this is like an int or a string, or yeah, this is a value. We don't need to like call another method on it. But yeah, it assumed that, yeah, sure, the code is written in that way, so totally it has that getValue method on this. And yeah, funny thing is, 2 lines like before this part of code, we've got this, where we are getting the start date, and as you can see, there is no getValue here. So I don't know, yeah, it didn't understand the context, it didn't understand the content, it just assumed that this, after getting the field value, getting the field, we should get value from it. Yeah, and after I like wrote skipping the value, it started like giving me so yeah, I wrote a code for the start date, and it suggested good code for the until date. That is a second like field that we were using. So yeah. Yeah, okay, let's move forward. Yeah, enter the prompt engineer. So what is the prompt engineering? So we are getting to the like main point of this presentation. Yeah, so prompt engineering is a set of techniques and practices used to guide an AI model, particularly language model, to generate desired outputs. Yeah, it involves stuff. In layman terms, it's like knowledge of telling AI how to do what we want it to do. Also, we got who is a prompt engineer. So it's a person who specializes in designing effective prompts for AI models. They understand the strengths and limitations of the models and how to construct prompts that will guide the model towards useful outputs. Yeah, so prompt engineers should work with the stakeholders and software developers to understand the needs of both groups and translate them into an effective prompt. And they also should analyze the model's responses to their prompts, adjust their approach, and etc. Yeah, so the prompt engineer is a person who knows how to talk to the AI to produce value for the product. And also it's, yeah, and here's another meme for this. Because some people in the coding programming community saying, yeah, prompt engineering is not a real job. From what I gather, according to Time, prompt engineers can earn up to $335,000 per year currently, with the median being about 175,000. And yeah, in my vocabulary, if you are doing something and someone is willing to pay you for doing this, it's a job. Okay. Yeah, okay, so let's get to prompt engineering techniques. Yeah, so we've got like a few techniques. I will go over them in detail one by one, but here's a slide. So we've got a few techniques defining clear objectives, because prompts should have a clear goal in the context of code development. This could mean running a specific function or debugging a piece of code. We have something called prompt framing, where we provide the desired outputs or examples for AI to follow to lead the model into giving response that we want. Also, an important thing is managing prompt length and complexity, because language models have something called context window, and it's amount of tokens that AI can take from your conversation and input it again to the neural network to provide the sum of the context based on what you ask it to do and what it generated. Also, we have something instructing the model's tone and style. I will show you this, and also the iterative refinement. I mean, it's an obvious one because yeah, we work in the code development, so yeah, the last one is kind of obvious. Yep. Okay. So defining clear objectives. Let's consider following prompt: write PHP code to retrieve user data from the database, and the AI model may produce something like this. It probably does its job, but yeah, it probably does its job, but it's not a very nice looking code. We can change the prompt to write a PHP function named fetch user data that accepts a PDO instance and user ID as parameters. The function should prepare and execute a SQL query for fetch and return all data from the user table where the ID column matches the provided user ID. If the query doesn't return any data, the function should return null. And we get something like this. It's much more, yeah, it's more readable, and it handles a few more cases. And it matches our clear objective. The function uses the provided PDO and uses the user ID to fetch the data, and also it handles the edge case that we specified that it should return null. Yeah, so by defining a clear objective, we are able to guide the AI model to generate this useful piece of code. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is an example from my private project. I'm working currently on a chatbot for Discord that uses one of the language models to allow users to go into interaction with it and role play epic adventures in Dungeons and Dragons, whatever. Yeah, so I wanted to use something called Llama. It's a model released by Facebook, and it has a C++ version that can run basically on any CPU and don't requires a GPU to run. So it's cheaper to run it. So you can basically run it on any machine, and you don't have to pay for GPU hosting. So I asked the ChatGPT. I have a C++ application for interact. Oh yeah, the one important thing here for understanding this case is I've got the application. It was running on the Windows. It's open source, so I had the code, but I wanted it to have the API so I can communicate with using Discord. So using some kind of REST to interact with this application. So yeah, I wanted to write API. And and I like to create a web API for this. What would be the best approach? So yeah, probably from this we can take that the ChatGPT is based mostly on Python, because the first thing was it suggested a Python solution using Flask for getting the web framework, and it also suggested using C types to bundle this application as a DLL library. So I was like, yeah, okay, this is the way probably. And I started working on it, and I had a few problems with the compilation, and I was like, yeah, okay. My last contact with C++ was probably in 2017, so it was a long time ago. And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, this is the way, let's do this. And after a few hours of debugging, I was talking to my friend and yeah, dude, do you know how to compile a DLL? Yeah, you do this. And I'm talking, and he's like, why do you even want to compile DLL? So yeah, I told him what I basically said to ChatGPT, and he's like, and why are you don't using C++ for that? I mean, yeah, because you have to manage WebSockets. And he's like, yeah, this is like 2005. Yeah, you have frameworks for that now. So I was like, yeah, hey, ChatGPT, can I set up an API using C++? Yeah, yeah, of course you can do it. So yeah, basically the takeaway here is like, yeah, you didn't ask, so yeah, I didn't tell you to, because objective was unclear. Okay, moving forward. Okay, yeah, probably the slide broke. Yeah, okay, so the prompt framing is like a technique where you provide, when you provide a language model with the desired output and probably some examples, and you can frame this prompt to give more context and content to, like, for AI to understand. I mean understand. Yeah, for like generate the more useful output. So here's another example from my project, because yeah, when you're playing a role-playing game, it's good to have like characters. So I wanted to store the characters as JSON files that can be generated by other language model. So yeah, for example, I can give the like ChatGPT something like this. Please, given the following description, we have description using natural language. This is description of a character. It was also generated by ChatGPT, but let's not delve into this. And I want to have a JSON with the name, ID, appearance, character, and backstory. So yeah, ChatGPT did this. It like extracted the key takeaways and like moved them into JSON. It also added few fields that make sense from my perspective. Yeah, so prompt framing is yes, it's a useful tool. So yeah, usually when interacting with large language models, provide examples and provide like desired outputs, because it can help AI better do what you want it to do. And we've got the managing prompt length and complexity. So we got a following prompt. Yeah, write a PHP function that accepts an array of numbers and returns a new array. The new array should contain only the numbers from the original array that are divisible by 2 or 5. Also, the numbers in the new array. Yeah, it's a pretty complicated prompt, and I guess humans could. Yeah, a lot of humans would need to have like read it a few times to get what you want to do. So yeah, we input that and we get something like this. I mean, yeah, it probably does its job, but yeah, we can move to like more simple prompts, and like in programming, divide and conquer is your friend, because we can like subdivide it into more clearer objectives. So we got a write a PHP function that's an array of numbers, and go by step and set combine previous functions into a function that will accept an array of numbers, so it filters out numbers. And we got few methods, so the code is much more reusable, and the final function is better readable now. Okay, so we are going to instructing the model tone and style. So the prompt was write a recursive PHP function to find a factorial of a number. And okay, it's a good function, but let's, for example, say we want to have some training materials from less experienced developers, and we'd like it to like be more informative. So we can ask the GPT to write a recursive PHP function to calculate the factorial of a number, and include lots of comments, write the code as if it's for a beginner programmer, and make it as friendly and approachable as possible. And we get something like this. We got the explanation what is a recursion, and then we got like every important part of the code is commented out. We got more like logs. We can see what the function is doing. So yeah, like changing the tone. I mean, asking the AI to like take step-by-step approach or something like that. It can give you a lot of benefits. And here's my favorite. Explain the following like I'm 5 years old. And this is from my project as well. Because this is a function that handles like keeping context, keeping track of the conversation. This is an older version. I moved to MongoDB now, but this is a version where I stored information on in the session. Yeah, let's not delve about this. And I can ask ChatGPT to like explain it to me like I can 5. So it says when a guest at the party speaks, the computer first gets all information about who spoke, where they spoke, what they said, and other details. Yeah, I won't be reading that out because the time is crucial, but you get the gist. So you get more like friendly explanation, and it can explain code very well if you like tell it to explain code in an approachable manner. Yeah, so the next one is the iterative refinement. This is one that is, yeah, I said it's obvious. It's a key technique because in software development we do this all the time. We like produce some feature, we find bugs, we fix the bugs, we find another bugs, and etc. etc. So the key takeaway here is like don't settle for the first response if it's not what you need, and keep refining your prompt iteratively until you get the output that fulfills your requirements, probably using the like techniques that I mentioned before. Yeah, something's broken. Yeah, and another there is. This one is called prompt leading, and it's another technique, but it's one that should be used with careful consideration because it involves providing explicit suggestion or leading cue in the prompt to guide the model's response in a particular direction. While this can be useful in certain scenarios, it's important to remember that leading prompts can often constrain the model's responses and limit its ability to generate diverse or creative solutions. So yeah, while developing my chatbot, I stumbled upon an issue because the API and the backend that I was using for generating the responses could handle only one request at a time. Sending another request crashed the system. So crashed my bot, not the backend. Backend just returned the response. So I was like, yeah, I don't want users to like try every now and then to, yeah, maybe this time it will work if we have like multiple users talking with the bot at once. So I was like, yeah, I have a Discord bot written using Discord.js. My bot is connecting to the code via API, and the API can handle one request at a given time. So yeah, it suggested creating a queue, but it used the processing flag, which doesn't really work, which really didn't work because we are setting something in the code, and yeah, there was a problem with the scope, and I was like, yeah, okay, let's use RabbitMQ to handle the queuing, and I will write a queue worker. So I went on and then, can I use an external queue like RabbitMQ? Yeah, you can use external queue like RabbitMQ to handle requests, and it provided me code on how to do it. So here was like, yeah, I wanted to solve a problem, but then I want to solve it using this technology, something I should have done in the like previous example with my C++, but I didn't know it then. This was like further down the development road. Yeah, so here's an example workflow. Okay, it's not like, yeah, so the first thing is define the task. We should start by defining the task or problem at hand, be as clear and specific as possible, using aforementioned techniques, for example, develop a PHP function. Then we generate the code. We ask the AI to generate the code based on the task defined. Then we go to review and refining process, because we, like I mentioned before, AI doesn't generate perfect code, so we should like check it. Check it for accuracy, efficiency, and adherence in coding standards. If necessary, refine the prompt and ask AI to generate the code again. Then we should also obviously test the code. We can use AI to write tests, and it will provide a good test, but yeah, now we are getting back to the point one, because we should like define our task would be like write tests for this particular class. Then we should integrate the code. After testing, incorporate the generated code in the code base, ensure it integrates well with the existing code and doesn't introduce any conflicts. And you can say like, hey, this does sound like typical code development process. And I will say, yes, it does, because it is, because yeah, because the AI is not a silver bullet to solve all our problems. It's another tool to assist you in coding. It's not a replacement for a skilled developer. So AI generates code, and we should maintain this code like we would any other code. It's not like magic super working code. Yeah, okay, so quick. Yeah, now we are blitzing because, yeah. What does the future hold? We get more advanced prompt engineering. We'll probably improve the code quality. Yeah, the augmented development teams, this is something that I think is important. So I won't replace developers, but it will become an integral part of the development team, helping to automate routine tasks and providing support in areas like debugging, testing, and code review. And we go into continue learning and adaptation, and AI models will continue to learn and adapt, improving their performance over time. And also remember, the future of AI in code development is not just about technology, it's about people, developers, teams, and organizations learning to work with AI, understanding its strengths and limitations, and leveraging it to create better, more efficient code. And also keeping up to date, because I've mentioned we are like getting new tools. So here's for you, the presentation will be shared with you, so you can like access this. Future Tools IO, it's a website that like keeps track of new AI tools. And also I've got a few YouTubers here. Matt Wolf, he's like, he's covering the most important and like more obscure news about general AI. Then we got AI Entrepreneur. He's mostly focusing on large language models and like various techniques related to working with AI. Then we have Olivio Sarikas. He's the guy that I'm watching in regard to like diffusion models generating images and to keep track from that. Also, we've got the Anastasi. She's covering mostly research papers related to the AI, and we've got the Arxiv. If you are like the more ready type, this is a page for articles that are pending peer review process. So there are a lot of research going on, and you can get ahead by like looking through it. Yeah, okay, it's time for questions. Yeah, sure.
You mentioned regarding the Copilot that it doesn't have the context of computer. Regarding Copilot, you said that it doesn't have any context regarding the code. I always thought that application like AWS, Code Whisperer, and Copilot are using and loading automatically classes from the namespaces that are used in the file. And the problem was we are always scared that accidentally it will send in the background like files that are security valuable, and it could be the problem that it was in the past with the Copilot, for example, that someone tried to use the code and Copilot suggested credentials from other company.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that it's a risk that we have to like weigh in before we like jump into using AI tools. From what I know, Copilot is trying like to make this secure. We have a few developers who are using it at the moment, so it was reviewed, and we think that it doesn't like prove, not prove. Yeah, sorry, I'm missing word. Yeah, but it doesn't introduce for now any major like risks, especially that Copilot X is in the works, which will be like fully integrated into your IDE. So, I mean, yeah, we just have to keep the news and like try to use it. I mean, yeah.
You can actually protect yourself. You can use, for example, environmental. You can keep it in environmental.
Yeah, that is very good. But we.
No way you can send it accidentally.
That's what I said. Because Copilot is like actually it's not like taking all the code. It looks at the current like class probably what you are done, and because it produces accurate suggestions, because it assumes you write a clean code. So like I mentioned that example with the get value, it assumed that there is a get value method, so it like suggested it, but it doesn't know what that class really holds. So if you are sure that your AI tool is not scanning like environment files, I think that risk is like mitigated.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a question related to the prompt leading. This is actually what I am doing a lot, and it is simply because it doesn't know the context, so I have to tell, hey, I'm working with Drupal 9, I'm using this framework, library, whatever, and I plan to do this and that. So as we said, on the other hand, I'm kind of don't give the AI the possibility to be some sort of a creative. So should I do it or should I not?
Yeah, like prompt leading, as I said, it's a technique to be used with consideration. Because let's say Drupal is more or less a niche framework, so like the AI needs to know that you want to have a Drupal solution. So yeah, you have to constrain it to use that framework, but you can probably skip the leading, like I want to do this in Drupal using views. So maybe then I can suggest, write a custom controller realizing this and that query. So yeah, the prompt leading, this is a good question actually. So yeah, you should use prompt leading like to narrow it down to your framework, but not necessarily provided a lead for the solution that you want to achieve. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we have 2 minutes past time. So anyone? One more question? No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for your time. You can reach me out on my email. Unfortunately, I'm leaving the conference after this talk, so I won't be hanging around to talk to you. But like, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or send me a mail. And last meme, not related entirely to this presentation, but it's my favorite. Remember, friends, 6 hours of debugging can save you 5 minutes of reading documentation. Yeah. Until the next one.